Hello everybody. Right now you should be sitting at your assigned seats with your 7 principles quiz sitting back in front of you. I did take the time over Thanksgiving break to grade these quizzes so that you could have a good indicator of whether or not you are ready for the test on Thursday. If you did not do well on this checkpoint quiz, then you really need to make sure that we're using some of the study tools that you'll be provided with this week to study. A Quizlet was already sent out via email and through Remind. You'll also receive a index card review sheet that you will set up yourself, and there will be 2 live stream reviews for you to watch as well. So you have a lot of tools that if you didn't do well on the quiz that you can fix. Now, please remember that you bubbled in a miniature Scantron. That Scantron is what was graded. So if your Scantron did not match your quiz, it's something you need to take into account in terms of being careful with your bubbling. If you think there's a discrepancy, you'll need to address that with me when I return. Finally, I know there are a couple people sitting there going, but I didn't take the quiz. Well, listen closely and pay attention. You can still learn from it, and you need to stay after school on Tuesday to take the replacement quiz. Not Tuesday, I'm sorry, Thursday. After school on Thursday to take the replacement quiz. So question 1 says, the principles of the United States Constitution. So as soon as I see principles of the United States Constitution, I should write flip rocks. It's going to help me remember that. Principles listed above were written into the Constitution to, so what were they supposed to do? Okay, put down rebellion in the Western Territories. Well, we didn't talk about that. We did have a rebellion, but it was in the East, Shays Rebellion. Copy the British system of government. No, we don't like the British system of government. Establish a strong militia or limit the powers of government. And the answer is D. This person got it correct. The answer is D, to limit the powers of government. This is our checklist. Remember, the principles of government are our checklist for a good government, and one of them is actually limited government. 2, exercising the right to vote for a representative. I'm going to put a little box. I see representative is an example of republicanism, because there's that rep again. Okay, republicanism. Now, if you get it right, please put a check mark. If you get it wrong, please put an X and indicate the correct answer. Number 3, the creation of a bicameral 2 House legislature. Okay, that's Congress. So the creation of Congress with 1 house based on proportional and another based on equal was a direct result of, so equal is the New Jersey plan, proportional is the Virginia plan, that is the Great Compromise. Check. The primary function of the judicial branch. Okay, so I'm looking at my J-E-L. I don't know how to, the Siri is trying to talk to me. Okay, so hopefully that'll make Siri stop. Hold on. Okay, so then you have executive. We should label this enforce. Judges or interprets. Or legislate. Oh, right. That is the legislative branch which writes laws. Okay, which brings me back to my answer choices. And answer choice C, interprets the laws. Check. Number 5, Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia dies. Okay, so you're going to have to replace him. Okay, the event described above leads the government to use a constitutional principle. So it's the principles, so it's flip rocks. Federalism, limited government, individual rights, popular sovereignty, republicanism, checks and balances, and separation of powers. So right now, I can actually automatically eliminate this answer because it is not a principle of government. The next three are. Federalism is about the federal, state, and local governments. Popular sovereignty is about voting. And checks and balances is about keeping the three branches balanced in power. Okay, well, this has to do with one of the branches of government, the judicial branch. So the best answer is checks and balances, because the president appoints new judges. So if a judge dies, and the president's going to appoint them, and the Congress is going to approve them, which are checks and balances in action. Okay. The system of government that delegates power to the national government, state government, and local government. National means central or federal. Any of those words all mean the same thing. So federal, state, and local, FSL. It's my little pyramid. Okay. And it is federalism. Check. We got this one wrong. This was one of our most missed questions. Okay, so was number 7 is the most missed question. The preamble to the Constitution of the United States. Now, actually, if you took out your little tiny Constitution books right now, and you were there the day we did notes, and you opened them, you would notice that in the very first thing we wrote down next to the preamble was jobs. So we, the people of the United States, in order to, okay, 1, form a more perfect union. 2, establish justice. 3, ensure domestic tranquility. 4, provide for the common defense. 5, promote the general welfare. 6, secure the blessings of liberty for us and for our posterity. So this is a list to do in order to. It's like saying, we, the teachers of Goodson, in order to do X, Y, and Z, are going to write some new rules. Okay. It's our to-do list. So the preamble of the Constitution, because it limits the power of Congress. Well, it doesn't say anything about Congress in here. Places limits on the government power. Again, this is just a preamble. It's just an introduction. Now, spells out the goals of government and lists the rights of the people. It is kind of like a list, so that might be a distracting answer. But the correct answer is the goals of government. It's our to-do list in order to. To-do list. Check. Number 8. Provide an army and navy, set up federal courts, regulate trade, and coin money. That's going to be your big hint right there, okay? Coin money. All right, and set up federal courts. Federal equals national equals central. So does Texas get to set up, and you can say, who gets to do this? Okay, so let's start. Federal powers. Can the federal, central United States government make money, set up courts? That seems reasonable. Can Texas make its own money? No, it cannot. Can a municipal, a lot of people ask me what the definition of that was. Good job. Always ask words you don't know. That just means local. So literally you have 2 answers that mean the exact same thing, so they cannot be right. So the answer is federal. It is not a trap. Okay, got this one wrong. All right, a rebellion of citizens, rebellion, constituted proof that people have liberty enough. People. The true strength of government might thus be demonstrated by its weakness. Occasional rebellions might be a medicine necessary for the sound health of the government, necessary in order to remind a government that it was not sacred. Thomas Jefferson, I'm going to write DOI next to him. Okay, Now, why do we need rebellion? So he mentions rebellions a couple times. So, what did Jefferson believe? That rebellions against the government are illegal. No, he literally participated in one. That the power of government are kept in check by its citizens. Ooh, there's the word citizens. That governments maintain health by rebellions. Ooh. And that people should be jailed for speaking. Okay, well, no, he totally did that. Okay? And what it's basically saying is that people have liberty enough. People already have the power they need to balance the government. Check. Number 10, Amendment 10. We should really, whenever we see Amendment 10, we should just automatically write federalism. Okay, because when I made you in your constitutions, open to Amendment 10 and write federalism next to it. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Okay? To the United States, that's federal or central. And then it talks about states. So you have F and S, states. You know, there is literally only one principle of government. So you know it's principles of government. So it's going to be F. L-I-P-R-C-S. Okay. Well, those are all principles of government, so that doesn't help me. Best reflected. There is literally one principle of government, and one principle of government only that mentions states. One. That one. Federal and state. I told you that sometimes they try to trick you by only referring to two of the levels. Okay, the answer is federalism. This was also one of our most missed questions. Okay, answer is federalism. Okay, number 11. The U.S. maintains a Republican system of government through the president's power to veto, appointment of federal judges for life, creation of a presidential cabinet, or election of representatives. Answer is D. Check. The primary function of the executive branch is to A. Create laws for all states. Primary function of the executive branch. So we actually already did this, so I'm just going to refer back to what I already did here on the front page. I can't spell. I wrote enforce, but that's enforce. So back over to the back. Do I have an answer that says enforce? Yes, I do. Check. Which statement best reflects the principle of separation of powers? So our memory device for that. Everybody's got their own jobs. There we go. The national government shares power with the state governments. Anything that says state is going to be federalism. The Constitution gives each branch of government power to limit other branches. Ooh, separation of powers also had that picture. No, that's checks and balances, sorry. So what we're talking about here, this power to limit others, that's checks and balance. There we go. The Constitution is able to keep pace with the changing needs of the nation, or the duties of the national government are divided among the three branches. Three branches: judicial, executive, legislative. D is the correct answer. Mystery person got this wrong. Okay, so limiting each other, that's checks and balances. Just dividing is powers. That's why we divide the word powers up. American citizens are guaranteed life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's our alien. Okay, LLP. Which principle of government is reflected? Principle of government. It's going to be either F, L, I, P, R, C, or S. All of those are actually on there. Unalienable rights, individual rights. And number 15, final authority in the government, okay, of the United States is held by, this messed a lot of people up. This was one of our most missed. So, final authority in the United States is held by, we can eliminate two things right now. We can eliminate A, and sorry, mystery person, we can eliminate B. Okay? Because in the United States government, it goes federal, state, local. States can't tell the federal government what to do, so they don't hold the final authority. State congresses do not hold the final authority because they cannot tell the federal government what to do. So we're left with citizens of the United States, which would, be like popular sovereignty, or the United States Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. And that's where we come back to. Final authority is the same, and I actually told a bunch of people this, the same as supreme law. So if you see the phrase final authority, you need to think of the phrase supreme law. Okay? The answer is D. All right. So our mystery person missed 1, 2. So here's your key. You actually already have your grade, so I'm not going to worry about actually you figuring out your grade. But these are the things you need to know that you need to look at. I'm going to tell you right now, everyone needs to look at federalism. If anything mentions the states, that's federalism. Federalism is the only principle of government that mentions the states. Okay? So that's definitely one to look at. Oh, checks and balances. Really, the Supreme Court appointments are one of the perfect checks and balances because it involves all 3 branches. Okay, and checks and balances and separation of powers both involve the 3 branches. And notice how useful these techniques are. And anytime you see a principle of government, you should be writing flip rocks down. And this was a most missed question. The government, the supreme law of the government is the Constitution. Okay, that's what keeps it limited. All right? So make sure you go back over this, figure out what you need to fix before the test on Thursday. Good luck.